Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Secondary Heroes podcast. This week, we wrap up Wandavision. It's episode 9, the series finale. This is your host, Trevor, asking you, do you know the ship of Theseus?
This is Prague.
Hey, lacking emotional depth, this is DeLorean Wolfgang.
Wow, here we go. Series finale, baby.
Series finale. That's right, man. There was tears, there was smiles, there was action. It was everything all over the place. But I was left disappointed. What's up, everybody?
Well, there was your spoiler-free take right there.
Spoiler-free.
Got it right out.
Well, hey, Trevor did that once during the series, so I might as well do it too. So, but my disappointment comes from something totally different, and I mean, all in all, I think. I don't know if I should say this yet or if I should wait for the spoilers, but I think the reason why I was disappointed in this episode, and don't get me wrong, I absolutely love you guys, but it was because of you.
Yes, I agree. It's because of Prague, but I understand.
It was because of you guys that I was disappointed in this episode.
The whole episode, all I was thinking was, Alex is going to hate me. Alex is going to hate me.
You know what's funny is I was watching it, and I was hating certain parts, and I'm like, Prague sitting there saying, Alex is hating this. Alex is hating this.
At least you were on the same wavelength.
Dude, we were in the same universe right there, dude.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
So that's my spoiler-free. Wow, we just jumped right in, baby. Let's do this.
Right in. So hopefully you've been staying with us for talking WandaVision all along and didn't just jump right into the finale. We start with spoiler-free portions, and somehow this episode was 45 minutes, and I know we're going to talk longer than that.
Always.
We have for the past couple weeks.
Gotta keep it going.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Especially when you guys know the backstories through like the comics and whatnot. That's what made this way more fun, was knowing the comics behind the story of the show.
Just remember, the journey is the destination, Alex. Just remember that.
I also just remember, this is all fake.
And that too. It's
Wait, what? I thought we saw Scarlet Witch on the news just last week.
Practically WWF, man.
Practically.
Junkyard Dog is going to come out.
Whoa. Are you trying to say that wrestling is fake? Sir.
It's still real to me.
That was a great moment. Anyways,
hey, Ed. Hey, Ed. No, dude, I used to love wrestling, man. Wrestling was fun for a while. Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't have gotten into the wrestling part. Hey, what are you guys' spoiler-free takes on this episode?
I'm interested in Prague's take because my take, I know, I'm pretty sure fans at home know what Trevor's take is going to be, so I'm intrigued what Prague's take is.
Okay. So overall, I do think that this was probably the most flawed episode of the series.
Okay, thank God.
We'll go into specifics why I will say that. There were some flaws. I will say that some of the writing was well done, and I thoroughly enjoyed the episode. So take that as you will.
Wow.
But I'm also a fan of certain things that this kind of addressed. Like, I'm a big fan of Wanda, and I like Scarlet Witch. I like the power sets. We'll talk about things during the episodes. But I will say overall, I really enjoyed how they wrapped up this season. I think it paid homage to what they were actually trying to tell this, which is Wanda's story, pretty much. So, and I think they wrapped it up really well. Flaws and all, but there were flaws. That's for sure.
So, for me, I would say Trevor's hot take of the week is that in terms of series finales, because I'm going to call it that since that was the title of this episode, I would say it's one of the worst series finales ever and goes right up there with Lost and Dexter and Game of Thrones.
No,
it's easy to say just because of the pedigree that Marvel has, the anticipation and potential this series has, especially what they developed through 8 episodes.
Yes.
It's kind of like why Game of Thrones Season 8 is so offensive. Taken by itself, it's not that terribly bad, but when you have amazing seasons preceding it, it's that much worse. So this show had really, really promising character arcs and story development, and so many people are excited. And what they actually gave us, just such a letdown. I kind of fits with that because Prague brought up it's not about the journey, it's about the destination. This had a total Lost vibe to it. where there's all this intrigue and mystery, and you're like, oh, what's this mean? And oh, what's that mean? And then this is what they give you. You're like, so it was this all along, just like in Lost.
Right.
So it's exactly what we thought it was for 6 seasons. That's what it was. That's what WandaVision essentially became.
Yep, and that's why I loved it. I had so much fun. I'm one of the few people, and I know this for a fact, that I'm one of the few people that actually enjoy. I don't think it's a good ending, but I do enjoy the last episode of Lost a lot. Because I'm more of a
we're still talking WandaVision
person. No,
the same show.
Pretty much the same show. No, you're right. It definitely felt like the same. It felt like Lost, but condensed down to one season. It was this whole like fun, like fans getting together, discussing theories, and then the finale happens. You can't live up to all the hype, unfortunately, and
you can't.
Maybe they missed some marks, and you just can't. I mean, you're throwing everything out there. Like they literally touched on so much, from X-Men to multiverse to Mephisto to you name it, right? And they delivered on none of that, and they gave us instead a character arc for Wanda, pretty much. And really nobody else, like to Trevor's point, like they didn't really give you kind of anybody else's, except maybe Monica in some extent.
A little
but
bit
even hers
Monica,
was pretty plateauy near the end. But I enjoy that. That's just me. I enjoy the journey more than how it ends most of the time. Now, that doesn't mean that I wouldn't have loved to have seen a more explosive finale. I would have loved to have seen all the big reveals that they had promised us a lot. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty satisfied for what I had for the season, if that makes sense. Like, even though I do think that this was probably my least favorite of the season, like of episodes, it has some of my favorite scenes, though. Just like I said, the last episode, kind of that same feel. I kind of felt like they were puttering out by the end.
So for me, I said the hot take because we're on a podcast and you want an opinion for people to react to. For me, as soon as it was over, I was like, well, I'm not underwhelmed and I'm not overwhelmed. I'm kind of whelmed. To me, I felt like I had a neutral reaction to the whole episode. It wasn't like, oh my God, this is horrible, but I didn't want to be whelmed with a Marvel show. I have like a high. That's the problem. Bar. They put a bar for themselves. They set their own bar, and they came under it.
That is the problem. I think they did set their own bar, and I think they didn't really have anything else at the same time. Like everything else is going to be in the future, for the big Marvel events. So it kind of stood out like an island, and we're all laser focused on it because we haven't had Marvel in like a year and a half, 2 years almost now at this point. So it was like, oh my God, Marvel! Everyone was all in, and I don't think the showrunner was expecting this from the Marvel community. Probably, remember, maybe Marvel came to them and said, "Hey, please tell Wanda's story for us on the small screen." And just let it be that, and they had fun with it, and they were not probably expecting that it was going to be this big build up to this major event that it was supposed to be. It was like Kevin Feige saying, hey, make sure you touch on this, this, and this, and this, because we're going to introduce that in the films, but don't actually reveal it in your show. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like they're being, like, the hands are being slapped. Like, no, don't quite mention the M word yet, or whatever.
Well, and that's the interesting thing. Every week we've been saying that this show is one of those things where it gives you that intrigue that it's getting people to go look online, and people looked online. People got excited. People were like, oh my goodness, you could bring in XYZ. You can do this, that, or another. And we got none of it. Big old goose egg.
Yeah, and I think it's to Prague's point that was by design. Like maybe the showrunners went out and thought of bigger ideas than they weren't allowed to do, especially because originally, remember, this show was set to be the second show on Disney+. Falcon Winter Soldier was supposed to lead it off, and this is kind of a more experimental show that's kind of flying under the radar. It's not going to be the big, gigantic tentpole. It's not, a new Avengers movie or anything like that, but people almost built expectations for it because when it comes down to it, this is in Doctor Strange 2, we pretty much know how Wanda's going to play in now. And rather than spending 15 minutes in that movie going over what they did in the show, they now have a TV show to do that 15-minute character arc of why Wanda's in Doctor Strange and what Wanda's been up to since the snap and everything. And then they just ran with it and they did all these interesting, fun things. And it's just funny that, again, I was just whelmed.
I got so excited. I got so excited to watch this episode. I really did. I got super excited.
I'm sorry, Alex.
And then I watched it and I'm like, okay, so I don't like that. Okay. Not like
don't
that.
like that.
Oh my God. Wow. That's what you're doing? Ugh.
You should have recorded yourself. That would have been fun.
Oh, dude. No. It would have
But
been a lot of
what I
me
was
drinking
gonna
whiskey
say,
at that point.
what I was gonna say to Trevor's point is that I had the same exact reaction when it faded to black the first time before the end credits and all that. I felt whelmed. I wasn't underwhelmed and I wasn't overwhelmed. I was just I got the story I thought I was going to get from episode 1. And then they started building in all these clues and things. I thought, oh, this is not what we're doing. We're not doing just House of M or whatever. We're going to be doing all this other stuff and multiverse stuff and mutants and. Yeah, then my brain started going all those different places, and then they just gave us what we thought we were going to get was Wanda's story. So I was whelmed. I got what I wanted, and that's fine. I had a fun season.
I think this is the longest we've spent on the non-spoiler part.
Well, it was a series finale. So it's fun. You can kind of talk about stuff without spoiling it too for the whole series. Series. Not season.
Before we start spoiling it, what do we got, Alex?
That's right. Before we start spoiling it, make sure you go over to Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I don't know. Are we on Snapchat yet? Are we doing Snapchats?
We are now.
We're Snapchatting? Hey, make sure you go check us out all at Secondary Heroes. YouTube, smash that like, subscribe, all that stuff. And if you go over to iTunes, if you are listening on your iPhone or iPod or whatever people are listening on, I don't know. Yeah, iPods. Hey, right? Make sure to go over to iTunes and what do they do over there? They got to review it. And hey, I don't care if it's a 5-star, 3-star, just keep it 3 and above, I guess. I guess I'm in on that. Anyways, yeah, give us a review. It gets people also listening to us because all this is free for you and priceless to us.
Very nice.
1 star, those Marvel fanboys. They have to like everything. It's like, I don't even know what I'm listening to.
Pretty much.
And be sure to check us on Twitter at Secondary Heroes. You can buy pins. It helps support us so we can keep bringing awesome content to you on all the different platforms that Alex mentioned.
Ooh, fun.
Spoiler time.
Time to spoil the crud out of this episode.
Hopefully you've watched this because, honestly, if you haven't, there's spoils on every single form of social media, toy manufacturers, pretty much everything has spoiled all that you possibly spoil. But with that said, there's really not that much to spoil from this episode other than didn't really do any of the expansive, awesome things they could have.
Yeah, there weren't any plot twists to spoil.
Yeah.
Right? So there weren't any plot twists to spoil. So we'll just kind of go through the episode, I guess, and talk about maybe the future of the MCU.
Sounds good. So this episode continues right where we left off. Agatha has Billy and Tommy strapped from floating from behind, and Wanda comes out and she's like, my powers work outside. And Agatha's like, that was my plan all along. Haha, I can absorb magic because you didn't watch my backstory. Only the audience has.
See mine.
Maybe Darcy saw it.
It's kind of my thing, is what she said. I was like, all right.
But yeah,
so they had a little battle.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, that was it. They had that little, back and forth, kapow, kapow.
Yeah, Agatha does that fun rise from the ground from like a flat standing point and just
oh my God. What are
Speaking of WWF, that was the Undertaker move right there, man.
That was the Undertaker, dude. It's like,
no, it was from Dumb and Dumber where he's in the dream sequence. He gets knocked over.
Tombstone pile driver Tommy there. My God.
Oh God, that was terrible for me.
And then Agatha tosses Wanda away. It's a pretty good toss away.
That was pretty cool. I dig that. Yeah.
And then Wanda comes back with the car toss, smashing Agatha into the house.
Also very cool.
Yeah, those two were my favorite part. Like, we'll get to the CGI part, but those were probably my 2 standouts of the CGI of this episode.
Those were the best looking ones out of everything else in this episode. Those were the best looking CGI, because you didn't expect to see the car or to see Wanda get knocked out, or not knocked out, but hit with the magic. And man, when it hit, it's like it looked like a truck just punched the right face. It was jarring. It was really good looking.
Kudos to the 2 kids if those were them doing the stunt, because they fell on their back, both of them. when they got pulled back by Agatha.
Yeah.
And then the car is like a callback to Civil War. It was right. I think it was in Civil War where it was Civil War. Where she took all the cars down and threw them on Captain America. So a nice little callback.
Well,
That's
and
one thing I like about the MCU.
if we're gonna do a little callback, how about the callback to Wizard of Oz where they find the witch's shoes under? Oh, did I get away from you? Ooh,
so
let me
that was next.
and
Is
take
that we zoom in on the Wicked Witch's shoes, and so they're empty. But again, this is the third time they've kind of hinted at Wizard of Oz, and I was like, okay, does that mean we're gonna reveal the curtain somewhere? Because this is only like minute 2 or whatever. I'm like, okay, we're building something up. You're still excited right now.
Oh, so you actually thought that they were doing the whole man behind the curtain deal at this point?
I wanted them to.
Oh, I knew it was off the table. I was all like, oh yeah, it's Agatha all along. I was like, at this point, I knew it. I was like, man,
Agatha, I just didn't want it to be so badly.
I didn't either. I really didn't either. I think I lost interest in Agatha after they did the Agatha all along. Right once they did that, I was like, okay, cool. Now we can move on from her. We're done.
Yeah, she kind of plateaued. Yeah, she plateaued after that. It was like, all right, that was it. So, I get you. All right, so what's next?
So then White Vision shows up, and the question is, where's regular Vision? Because it's been like 10 years, and he still hasn't floated across the town. Right? And so Wanda's like, oh, Vision, is that you? And he starts crushing her skull, and you're waiting as he's crushing the skull.
Now, and then, before we go too far, the reveal, or not the reveal, but watching White Vision walk up, I'm like, that's bad. That looks so.
That was a good shot. The whole scene where she stands up, sees him, his reflection, turns around, goes, "Oh my God, it's the real my real Vision. That's his body."
Like he just looked so good, like just that pale white and the blue glowing eyes with the blue, whatever thing in his head. What is it? The arc reactor or whatever.
Yeah.
Dude,
I would say
he just looked so freaking bad.
Despite a lot of the CGI that was not very good in this episode, the director, kudos to the director, who I think got nominated today for a Critics' Choice Award, because he did the best he could with his camera work this episode with the bad CGI they had.
The bad CGI or the overuse of a set?
Well, I don't think they had much of a choice there, I'm guessing. I don't know. Maybe they wanted to look like a set. I have no idea. But yeah, it was very phony looking, and that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they were on MGM Studios, like they were freaking
backlot.
No, not the back, but the theme park. Like when you first walk into MGM Studios and they've got the billboards and stuff. That's what it felt like to me. I'm like, oh, this place sucks. But I like MGM Studios. Sorry, I didn't mean that. So White Vision starts crushing Wanda's head.
Crushing your head.
He says, "And I was told you were powerful." And so then regular Vision, or the Vision we know, comes and saves the day. And then they start doing their DC fight because, I guess Zack Snyder came in. He's like, what you guys need is super powerful people smacking each other around where neither gets damaged and there's no stakes at all. Include that. And they're like, okay, we'll do it twice.
So the one takeaway that I got out of this is while he's crushing her head, other Vision, green and Red Vision, comes through and just hits him straight into a Winnebago. And for some reason, Winnebagos have like 1,000 sticks of dynamite inside of them. So the Winnebago goes up in a giant nuclear bomb.
That was hilarious. I saw that. I'm like, wow, that was a big explosion.
And then he walks out like the T-1000.
Yeah, that was great. Oh, this episode was silly. That's for sure.
Yes,
that was one of my gripes with this episode. This is very silly.
Oh, and then this is the start of the worst CGI, man. This just killed me. I'm like, are we back in 1995? Because this is Lawnmower Man style for me.
Wow, it did kind of feel like Lawnmower Man a little bit. Well, that was a good vibe. It definitely felt like that. It was the same neighborhood too. Kind of had that Pasadena neighborhood feel.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, wild. Cool.
I have a buddy of mine whose cousin lived in that house where they filmed it. So nice. I've been there. I've been to that neighborhood. It is creepy. I mean, it's beautiful, but it's also you get that weird vibe. So
little off.
All right, here we go.
Real quick, I got a buddy who's working on who's working inside of the Edward Scissorhands house right now.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought that was
Okay.
pretty cool. The people who bought the house wanted to go back to make it look like the original movie, so they're putting up all the old wallpaper and stuff. It's pretty wild.
Road trip. Road trip.
Yeah, right. It's right down the street
Let's
from
go.
my house in Florida. My parents' house. I'm sorry. I don't have a second house in Florida.
That's
Let's
the
continue.
podcast money.
Yeah, we're selling pins, baby.
And so yeah, they're phasing up in between each other up in the sky, and they go for the stone, and it's all really stupid, goopy, and all that kind of good stuff. And so then we go back to Hayward, and he explains a way going against Wanda, like it's okay, he has the moral high ground to do all that he's doing.
Yeah, but I just to say, I really, as silly as it was, I enjoyed it. The whole Vision versus Vision thing. It was fun. I don't know.
I hated it, despised it. It was horrible.
I know.
The
That's
best
fine.
part
I
of Vision is coming up.
But the best part is coming up soon. Yes. Anyway, let's get back to the most pointless character, Hayward.
And so then he explains his whole thing, and Wu's like, "You're wrong," or whatever. I'm going to call the FBI. He calls it bluff, whatever. He actually steals the phone because Wu's using all of his magic tricks that he learned from Ant-Man.
This was awful because he had guards standing right behind him.
Yeah, the guard was like,
It's like clunking around, just clunk, clunk, clunk. Let me grab that clunk, clunkety clunk flown.
Yes. Yeah, this episode was a series of conveniences.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he even gets rid of the handcuffs just with a pin because
and then he
those
says
still
flourish.
Yeah, he did say flourish.
Again, my eyes went around.
I like that. I like the flourish part. Didn't really care about the rest.
It was cute that he said flourish, but the fact that like, oh hey, let me get this pin out and let me break out of this thing in 10 seconds flat. It's like, what's the point of even using handcuffs anymore?
Who knows?
They should use zip ties.
Zip ties. Yep.
I should.
Hat tip.
Anyways.
So then you can break those across your hip like, ugh. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, what happened?
Chuck Norris.
I watch self-defense videos, people, okay?
Then we go back to Agatha and Wanda, and the messenger guy, the police or the postman guy, he says, "Don't shoot the messenger," don't shoot. I'm just the messenger. And I wanted him to mean something or be something, and he never was.
Nothing. He said that in the first episode. He said the same exact line in the first episode, and it meant nothing then, and it means nothing now.
Yep.
Pointless.
It sure does.
Even the company, I tried to remember what the company was that he was right, but it had nothing to do with anything either. There's no connections to anything.
Nope. What this series boiled down to was red herrings. Nothing but red herrings.
They literally could have put an actual herring in the truck, and I wouldn't have cared as much.
They had a real herring in the show, so yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And so then we get to the point where Agatha gets to talk some more, and so the Scarlet Witch isn't born, she's forged. The Book of the Damned tells all about the Scarlet Witch. The power exceeds that of the Sorcerer Supreme. No, not the wait, this is a Doctor Strange prequel?
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Right.
Well, and she's in front of a giant billboard, a squeaky clean billboard. I forgot what, but it says like the most powerful stuff on Earth, on Mother Earth, or something like that. I don't know. I thought that was kind of neat that that was a little like most powerful thing on Mother Earth. Fun, but like still, it just. Yeah. Out of all the places that she could have been standing, she stands right in front of a giant billboard. It just kind of felt silly to me and very, very fake.
Gotcha.
Because this is where they are in Town Square. They're in the middle of Town Square, and Town Square looks like Backlot USA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the old days. Exactly. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Right, but we're already at this point. We're out of the TV show scenes. We shouldn't be looking at TV stuff anymore. It shouldn't feel like a TV set. We're now
not necessarily, because
I guess you're right.
She was technically in the TV world because her hex was still around it. I don't know how that. Whatever.
I kind of get you.
But yes, I agree with you. It did look kind of weird. and off-putting. But I do like that they're finally getting to the point where she is like the most powerful, being in the MCU, because she's always been in the comics one of the most powerful. It's like finally, it's like, all right, let's get onto it.
Yeah, they set her up like that, but then they kind of drop the ball. It's weird, but
Right,
we'll
like,
get there.
Yeah.
So then this is when Agatha says we're gonna cut the strings of the meat puppets down below with Dottie and my little daughter Sarah. Can you? So all the villagers start being awoken to their conditions, and Wanda's like, "Oh my god, this is
woke.
so amazingly bad."
Woke.
Those villagers are #woke, I tell you.
I was wrong about Emma Caulfield being Emma Frost.
Oh,
I know.
I was
it
so
was the
bummed.
longest shot in the world, and I knew it would
Yes.
never happen. But still, I was like,
I was like, okay, she's walking up real slowly, and I'm like, this is it. She's gonna do something. This is gonna be rad.
No, I was like, she's sick.
She's gonna do something.
But
Nothing.
She did not. I do like that at least in this scene we got to see that Wanda's like darker side, like the fact that she could really become evil. She did have that moment where she like tied them all down, and
Yeah,
that was kind of scary.
Yeah, has rope to everybody's neck rather than just silencing them.
Well, and she said, what did she say? She's like, I was helping you. I was giving you a perfect life, or this was.
Right. She
this
didn't
was
realize. She didn't realize that she was giving them, here's the N-word, nightmares that they've been dropping all season, but Nightmare didn't show up yet.
Please don't use the N-word anymore.
Sorry, I did not. I will not Papa John this. That's for sure.
Yeah. But no, and then what's her face? Agnes says, heroes don't torture don't torture. Oh God, they don't torture who?
Heroes don't torture people. That's all.
Oh,
because
that's all.
This is where the villagers were saying, if you won't let us go, then let us die.
Yeah. I was like, wow, that's rough.
A little heavy-handed.
What they're experiencing, right? But what's interesting too is like as soon as she became like overwhelmed, she immediately went to like trying to destroy them. That's scary.
Yeah.
It's to balance that.
We'll get into the juxtaposition of Wanda and Monica as we go.
Well, I thought at that point that's where she opens up the hex to let them out. She was like, "Fine,
well, no,
I'm going to let you out."
Have to. It's because that's because Billy and Tommy, or Billy sees what's going on, right, with the mom. They zoom back to the house, and he sees that she's about to go crazy and send all the red waves out.
That's the interesting thing is Billy sees the future in this moment. He's not seeing what's happening right now. He's actually seeing what's going to happen, which is fascinating.
That's so Raven.
That's so Raven.
I mean, that's exactly a That's So Raven thing. She sees the future like a couple seconds ahead. Disney show at its best.
And then we had to transition back from this scene where Quicksilver is keeping Monica captive because, hey, do you remember when he said Snooper's going to snoop and he actually meant something back in episode 5, like it was X-Men multiverse crossover thing? No, it turns out
goose egg.
Nothing at all. His name is literally Ralph Boner, and they included him in this entire show for a boner joke.
Well, he's supposed to be Agnes's Ralph.
Yeah, he is.
He's the Ralph that she's been talking about this whole time.
Yeah, right. That's why she was being so horny the whole time, too.
Sucks. Totally sucks. Sucks.
So I was definitely disappointed with the reveal. I chuckled a bit. I was disappointed. But at the same time, I was like, well, at least he's not the Fox X-Men. Like, I don't want the Fox X-Men in this universe. I want them to create their own mutants. So if that's what I have to get is the lame boner joke, then fine. That's fine.
It would have been nice want to acknowledge its existence. They could act like we can't access that multiverse, but to acknowledge it,
that's true.
Would be
true.
Cool.
Like, hey, it's out there. Maybe something else.
Well, and I guess that actor who plays that Quicksilver, he did like a tweet or something where he was saying, "Hey, it was really fun, being a part of this and whatnot," kind of like insinuating that he's not coming
longer
back.
Going to be in it.
Yeah, he's pretty much done with the MCU.
Yep, pretty much. So there's that scene. Actually, those are two scenes separated, but yes.
And he does like flick Monica, and she flies backwards, and it makes a little
because that's because he's under the spell, so he has like the fake superpowers.
Yeah.
So he's able to do that.
Yeah, it was just the puka shell
Bewitched.
necklace.
Yep.
Always remember.
And he wore that dumb hat, and I'm sitting there thinking, man, if he took off the hat, would the rabbit ears show up? Because we never seen Senior Scratchy again.
No, Senior Scratchy was just a rabbit.
Just a rabbit.
Just
another
a rabbit.
another thing that we looked so far into.
Yeah. Like they could have even made Rabbit be like Agatha's cat from the comics, Ebony, but they didn't even go that far.
No.
Nothing, dude. We got the purring of a cat whenever they showed the rabbit, but they don't
They're
show
trolling us the whole
anything
time.
else, man. It's so, give us what we want.
I am amused, but yes. Anyway, let's keep going.
And so then Wanda starts opening the void to let everybody go, and we go back to the Visions fighting, and they're doing the laser fight, and the Vision, who is completely manifested inside the void, loses most of his power and starts falling to the ground.
As expected, right?
And then he crashes, and that's all fun and stuff. And then he's there. He somehow crashes right next to Wanda's Vision. Like, literally, he could have crashed anywhere in Westview. He literally crashed on Main Street. And then the kids somehow showed up just so they could disintegrate right in front of her. So they could both turn to little pieces right in front of her just to rub it in her face that she really can't close the hex.
Series of conveniences this episode, yes. It happens. But it
That's
happens in 99.9% of every single TV show and movie ever made. But yes, it was very convenient. Anyways, I did like this scene because it was the whole House of M style, like, Thanos snap look to it, the whole pixelated thing, like her power. That was cool. So at least they had that thrown in there to make up for
so there's that comic book cover where Wanda is being pulled apart. I watched a video about all this and how the way that they made Vision and the kids pull apart was the same way that Wanda was pulled apart in that comic book cover. And that's what kind of was supposed to make that like really kind of neat, like a little callback.
Frogs used that image on Instagram for a while.
Yeah, he did. That's right.
And I just mentioned it like 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wait, what? Well, because I've never read the comics already. I don't know what the name of them are, man.
House of M.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. House of M. Hello. Hi. I'm on a podcast. I listen to these guys every week.
Yes, but yes, that's what it is.
And so Agatha gets to remind Wanda that her family's tied to Westview, and then she keeps absorbing Wanda's magic, and now both of Wanda's arms have turned black and rotted away, just like her mom and stuff like that.
I liked that. That was a cool little scene where she was like wasting away.
Oh, my fingers.
And so I had a question. Why did Agatha's fingers become black? That was weird. It was like right at the start. It just like, hey, my fingers are black all of a sudden.
My only guess is that like because she's using so much dark energy that she is possibly rotting away, maybe. They never explain it, so I have no idea.
It just looked weird.
It is weird. I like it. It's a cool looking effect, but they didn't give any reason for it.
And so then we get to the fun thing. So now she's closed Westview back up, and so now they have to take on Agatha. And so this is while it's open, Hayward and his crew come in. Everybody's like starting to surround this circle. It's looking dark for our heroes, right? Because Wanda can't do anything to Agatha. There's all these various adversaries coming her way. And so then we get the Incredibles posture. Kids, I know we didn't prepare for this, but we're family. We were born into it. And so we have this whole fun little Incredibles thing. I was waiting for Syndrome to come out. And he's like, oh, Wanda, you married Vision and got busy. You have super kids. I was waiting for it so badly.
It was a fun homage. They were waiting to do that for the whole season. You know they were. They already teased it in the Halloween episode, so bravo. Well, this is part one of my favorite scene. My favorite scene of the whole series was this moment. I know it was probably Alex's least favorite moment ever, like in history.
Well, everybody called that. Mountain Meg last week even said, "I hope they do an Incredibles thing." Guess what? Your present is on your front door.
Yeah. Well, they wanted us to think that, to know that, so that when the moment happened, it was kind of like, oh, cool, there it is moment. So it was nice.
Well,
so
and I mean, they because and I'm sorry, whenever I slunk down into my seat, my headphones came off, so I don't know if you mentioned the movie theater that had The Incredibles on the marquee.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, now I'm back on board. Here we go.
Cool.
But best of the series. All right, second best moment coming up. Let's go.
But so now we get the point. So White Vision comes and he's ready to fight regular Vision again. And before that, kids, you go take care of the military. And so they go, Quicksilver does his fun, or baby Quicksilver does his fun little things, and they get all the guns out of the way, and Tommy stops stuff. But then Hayward comes and he's like, you know what? I'm going to shoot these kids because I have no incentive to do so. There's no reason at all in the basis of any human being, but I'm going to shoot these kids. And so he tries to shoot the kids, and luckily Monica gets there just in the nick of time, and she doesn't know what's going to happen, but she goes to take the bullets, and they kind of just phase orange through her and just lose all their kinetic energy.
I will pause you for a second because Hayward tries to shoot the kids, because if you look at the scene, the kids are
nowhere near the gun.
Nowhere near where these bullets are going. Bullets are going.
He's shooting between them like at a statue or something. I don't know what.
Exactly. The dude is military trained and he's shooting like a freaking stormtrooper, nowhere near his targets.
Maybe that's what he is. Maybe this is the crossover. We just didn't know it.
Prequel to something far long time ago.
Maybe. The couple of good things I will say, because I know we're gonna poop all over this episode, is that it was fun to see Speed take on the persona of Quicksilver by taking the hat and the glass and the goggles. That was kind of a fun nod. I like that. I like the high five. That was fun. But I also like that Monica didn't know that she could stop a bullet. She took the bullet for those kids, unaware of the fact that she could actually be bulletproof. So that was kind of cool.
Did you also notice that her eyes were orange instead of blue whenever the bullets started going through her? And then her energy turned orange as well as they were going through her. So it wasn't, it's almost like she was absorbing a totally different type of energy.
Like kinetic energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Rather than the blue energy that she got from the field or whatever.
Exactly. So she's pretty powerful. She's pretty powerful.
It's just kind of cool to see that we know that, I mean, we have to know at this point that they're going to do something big with Monica down the road. And we're seeing just the beginning stages of what she's doing.
Oh, yeah.
It's a point, she's just a hero.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, she was always a hero. She gained superpowers. That's all. She was a hero before.
It's a very Captain America.
It's the same thing. Captain America falling
on the grenade
when he didn't have powers. Same thing. That's very cool. I like it. It's a good little homage, I guess, to that scene.
And so then Billy also stops one of the bullets, but then Hayward's like, "Oh, I'm out of guns. I'm out of bullets. I'm gonna leave." And then Darcy shows up out of nowhere because she's been driving across town for
the
3 episodes, and she somehow, at full speed, hits the town at the second that he is leaving to crash into him.
Convenient, man.
You can't speed that car up enough to get it. Like, if she's on this part of town and see him leaving, it literally, if he wasn't there, she would just smashed into the wall. Just based, like, her brakes were gone. It didn't matter.
Now, is this the point where she looks over at him and says, have fun in jail or something like that?
Yeah. Fun in prison.
Have fun in prison. Yeah.
Glad and he does the whole switch guy thing. I could not stand that. He's like, like, okay, Hayward. Whatever.
Womp womp.
It's not a well-written character. I thought he was going to be something else. He still might be. Who knows? But yeah, that was disappointing. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
And now we get to what a true Vision fight is, which is a philosophical discussion. In particular, this is identity metaphysics and the thought experiment of the ship of Theseus, which, if you aren't fans of identity metaphysics, it's the idea that the ship of Theseus was completely built and then all the pieces rot away and they're replaced one by one. And so you get to a point where the ship, every single piece in that ship has been replaced. And so what is the true ship? It is a very apt comparison for Vision, as there's the one Vision who has all of the experiences, but no actual material. And then there's the other Vision that has all the material, but none of the experiences. And so which one is the true Vision? Which one is the true ship of Theseus? And it's such an interesting thought experiment that we get to see played out, because this is how a Vision fight should be. They're not going to blast each other with lasers or try to punch each other. It's literally thought experiments and trying to define self, because that's Vision's entire journey throughout comics, is trying to define what it means to be human and self and identity and all that kind of stuff. So that's always fun. Any kind of, philosophical discussion of self is fun, and seeing it through them just floating around in the middle of the library.
Yeah, they just so happen to be in a library.
You have to.
Yeah.
It was great.
Hey, let's have this very intense conversation floating around this gorgeous library.
I'm fine with that though, because that was a cool scene.
No, it really, actually, I'm giving tip of the
Like,
hat
I'll
to you
allow
on that.
This was my favorite part of the episode, and I thought that this kind of defined that Paul Bettany and Vision was the best part of this entire show for me.
I would probably agree. Yeah,
Well,
he did such a great job.
I think
series.
This is the point where you really get to have a really good, like, detailed look at White Vision and see how just the way his eyes and everything's kind of molded. It actually, because he doesn't look like original Vision. He looks different. Like, his eyes are more frowed, like he's almost like, ooh, I'm evil Vision.
Or more concentrated, like, what's going on?
And just totally more robotic, the actual waves of his eyes, and his voice has that robotic echoey pitch to it.
Yeah.
And everything.
His mouth just hangs open all the time. That's so creepy. I was like, what is going on with your mouth, sir? Close it. Close it.
I don't need to breathe air.
Oh, I guess. But the one thing about this scene, other than just that, which I like, is it also is going to tie in, I think, to later on, but the idea of soul. What is the soul in the
Pixar
MCU?
movie?
Like, what does that mean? Not the movie Soul, but the actual soul.
It's a crossover.
What creates the soul? Where's the soul? Is the soul in the mind? Is it in the heart? Is it somewhere out in the ether? I think they're starting to build that with this scene here, because they're like, okay, which one's the true Vision? Do they have a soul? That kind of thing. So I think that's going to become important later on.
After this Vision disappears and you never see him again.
So
there's
to get there, OG Vision does the mind melt, and that shows all kind of the flashes through Age of Ultron and Infinity War and all the stuff that Vision's seen, and then his eyes go back to being Paul Bettany's eyes rather than those robotic things, and then he just blasts off through the ceiling. But before we transition away from the scene, I do want to let all of our fans know there's this book called S. So it's produced by J.J. Abrams, and it's essentially the ship of Theseus. It's a really interesting book that's unlike anything out there. You can find on Amazon. It's like $20. And the really peculiar thing about the book is that there's 3 different storylines simultaneously. There's the main storyline of the actual book printed on the pages. But then in the margins, there's a story between 2 people who are reading this book, and they're sharing it at the library, and they're getting to know each other through the margins. And then there's the third narrative of who actually wrote the book, who's the narrator, because the author has really peculiar, interesting backstory where he possibly was killed in the way past, and there might be all these different people who went into it. And then it turns out that all 3 storylines are potentially overlapped and all tied into the idea of Ship of Theseus and where things originate and where things become as it switches out and passes through eternity and time and all that kind of fun stuff. So read stuff.
Wow. Can I get that on Audible?
It wouldn't translate as well.
Somebody read it to me.
Somebody read it to me. Play all the parts.
Yes. I'm dumb. Read to me.
So yeah, I think for a lot of people, they're going to be confused as to what happened to Vision, and I think that's the point. We're going to see him again, but my theory is that he left because he doesn't have the Mind Stone. He's no longer really tied to Wanda. He just has those memories, so there's no real need for him to like be in a relationship with her. He needs to take care of stuff. Like, he got all this knowledge and went, oh my gosh, there are bad people doing things. I need to do something about this. He's going to be a lot less emotional.
Yeah, he's not tied to Wanda. He's not tied to Hayward. He understands that they used him as a more efficient weapon. So he has no connection to the Avengers or any real tied down to anything. So he can leave and do his own thing.
Well, hold on.
It's kind of cool.
does it, but whenever he touched his forehead, bink, and he gets all the memories and all the feelings from the other Vision.
Not
I mean,
It's
necessarily
not the
but
feelings.
yes.
He got the memories, so they're just data
Right.
points.
Yeah, he's a machine. Like Vision is almost. I mean, if you want to go back to the whole soul thing, almost has a soul. In a way.
Just
Whereas
because
this other
Vision was
not.
formed in, because Vision is essentially based on Jarvis, and then Ultron, Tony, and Bruce create some whole weird creation that actually mixed with the Mind Stone forms Vision. You're not going to replicate that in a lab. So this Vision is very completely unique.
Yeah.
He knows who Wanda is. He remembers that they live together and that they're supposed to love each other, but he doesn't feel anything.
He's like, what is love?
Because I'm a robot.
I am robot. Yes. And he's out of here, folks. I is the Vision. I am Vision.
Yep. So he pieces out. And then
deuces.
Now we go back to Wanda, and she gets to do her fun Ultron mind trick, or Age of Ultron mind trick on Agatha, because, again, we're setting up all the things that Scarlet Witch is capable of, but we're going to bring her back down to her super, she just causes little voodoo nightmares. Woo! Look, you're seeing bad stuff. That's all she's capable of. And so she does that to Agatha, and we'll go back to the stake. And then they have the fun horror motion where they cut the frame so the body movements are really jagged and stuff. And then when they say Doctor Strange into the Madness of the Multiverse, or whatever it's called, they said it's going to be classified as a horror film. And so I like that they're doing a little glimpse of what horror movies do with this. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good visual. Like seeing her on the stake, getting her crown with all these like dead witches like clawing at her, like that would make such a great comic book cover. Mm-hmm. So hopefully someone out there, an artist, will recreate that so I can own it. Thanks.
It would make a great episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, because it looked like it was for children. It did not look good to me. I was like, okay, whatever. This is
fun.
Bunch
of have fun too, Alex.
Old bags going, you're Scarlet Witch.
I don't understand how you can like all these other fun, goofy kid things, but you don't like this. It's strange to me.
I love Are You Afraid of the Dark too.
Weird.
I don't know why I just bashed it.
I don't get it. Okay, I have no idea.
No.
Yeah, you've like completely changed sides. The next time you're gonna come on, you're like, I read this great book, and I'm no longer gonna watch film because it's beneath me. Like,
the cinema has no time for me.
Yes,
he's turned into Vision.
Yes.
Somebody touch my forehead now.
What are emotions? Do not know.
I'm gonna get robot legs. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So now the Red Tiara forms on Scarlet Witch. It's that classic comic style. Oh, look, we know that Scarlet Witch. It's so fun. So now we go back to present time, and Wanda's like, take the power. I don't want it. So she acts like she's just sending all the power into Agatha. All of her red beams are flying around and everything. Yeah. And then we see she's just a husk of herself, and the kids are like, no, Mom, you're dying. Oh, it's so sad. I'm crying. My emotional depth is on display of Wanda sacrificing herself for fake imaginary people that she popped up into her head inside of Westview.
Okay. I guess you hate that moment. I didn't even realize the kids
terrible.
Up at them. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
No, this whole sequence is terrible because this is that whole idea where the CGI is on CGI. You have Wanda and Agatha floating around, and they have that red thing in the background. So it's all just CGI, and there's two little floating figures. It's just disgusting to have on film, especially because it was on film for like 15 minutes in a row. They just had the same form of sequence.
Yes.
Yeah,
this was my most hated part.
I think the outcome of it was kind of neat. Like I kind of liked that a bit. But yeah, the floating around, anything where you're seeing these characters floating around, it just looks cheesy as all hell. Like it's just not fun. Like that, when you're floating there, like you said earlier, there's no consequences, because if she was to get knocked to the ground, who cares? She'll most likely get right back up and keep doing the same thing. I thought it was neat though that she was throwing all of her magic at her, and she was degrading herself. She was just melting down to nothing, just like Agatha's mom did.
Yeah,
I thought that was it was kind of neat for an extent, but I mean,
I like the idea in the moment of Wanda, like literally, she didn't know how to defeat Agatha, and Agatha was just going to take all of her powers. She didn't know how to like kind of reverse engineer the powers, and she's just going to give up and give all things in. And how are they going to resolve this? And well, they resolved it by she wasn't actually given the power to Agatha. Surprise! She was casting her own runes in the hex, and she has to use Agatha's words against her. And now, oh, don't you remember? None of your magic works when another witch cast. Just shut up. We know what you're saying. I got it.
It was fun though.
It wasn't
I know
that
you didn't
fun.
like it. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
But now that
Most
too
people
much
would
hand-holding
disagree
of
with
the
you,
audience.
but it was fun.
No,
Yes,
too
it
much
was a
hand-holding
lot.
of the audience. I'm an adult. I understand what's going on.
But here's the thing. Not everyone who watches the show is an adult. So as much as I agree with you that it shouldn't be like that, I also have to remember this is Disney now, and that's the way it's going to be, and it sucks. But
So
still,
here's the thing, though. Right once the ruins
You can't
were
explain magic, then you end up with the Star Wars prequels when you start to explain magic.
yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
I mean, okay, so she creates these runes, which I thought was actually kind of neat until I start thinking again that they're still floating around in the air.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Agatha is still using her magic to float around in the air inside the runes where she can't use her magic.
Unless she was like keeping her afloat to talk to her at this moment to still back her power. Would be my guess. Because I thought the same thing. I was like,
hand flourishes. Oh, I need to keep you afloat so I can.
Wanda's doing everything at once, even though she's exuding all this power. Westview is still fully under her control, and it's not fizzing out or anything.
Yep. She doesn't need to do the flourish all the time.
She was forged.
She was forged.
Forged.
Yeah, she doesn't know how to do it.
Now, hold on. Let's jump back to this forged thing. Wasn't she originally forged by another character, like a Chiron or something like that? I saw this online. I saw this online that she was like the whole book was made by this Chiron guy.
Oh! You're talking about the guy who made the book.
Well, he made the book, but he also trained. I think it was Wanda. Yeah, he like trained Wanda to use her magic or whatever.
He pretty much gave her powers.
Right.
He pretty much like cursed her with it.
Well, and it would have been cool if he would have opted. Yeah. I wanted to see another character so bad. I wanted to see someone else.
MCU Wanda has a different origin story though. The Mind Stone gave her everything.
Right, yeah. But at the same time, I wanted just one more character. Just give me one more character that I can like. That I can go, oh, that's a cool bad guy. Because Agatha wasn't enough for me. Witches do nothing for me.
They gave you one bad guy that's in the second bonus scene.
Okay.
We'll get there.
Anyways, okay.
Sorry. So I jumped us way off track. I'm sorry.
You really did.
No, that's okay. Because again, this is just CGI and CGI on top of more CGI with a little CGI thrown in. And so once we get past that point, it's Inception level CGI. Agatha says, "Oh God, you don't know what you've done. Whatever. You're gonna need me. All this kind of stupid stuff." And Wanda's like, "Nah, you're gonna stay in Westview." And so the fun thing is we don't see Agatha again.
The best part. Oh my God.
What part?
Oh, hold on.
Oh my God. Where she sucks up all of her powers and becomes a Scarlet Witch.
That was so terrible. It's a little side thing.
The best part.
Wanda looks terrible in all leather outfit. It looks like Hawkeye designed her costume.
Costume design.
I will say that looks pretty great.
To date
she looked
terrible.
Great.
It looks like Hawkeye outfit.
The House of M on top of her crown, like Magneto's helmet, was fantastic. The color choice of like the dark purple, red. Oh, and the way her hair looks in it. Choice.
I actually kind of like the outfit too.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Absolutely fantastic. It's great.
It's
if you know design, it's great design.
No, it's not. It's 2008 design.
Oh my God. It was 2008 X-Men. Why did
it's
I like
very
it?
dated. It's definitely not 2021. It stood out like a sore thumb. MCU has even transitioned since Doctor Strange in the costume design. It was weird that they went back to more like OG Avengers time to design the costume. That's all.
That's fine.
You can like it for all your little asides to what you just said, but it's very dated.
Dated's fine with me. I don't mind dated. If it looks good. If it looks good, looks good.
I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it too much, but now that you say that, wow, did that smack me in the face with yeah, this looked like an X-Men movie. But it wasn't terrible.
Because the X-Men are awesome. So yes, I'm here for it. Here for it. I will die on that cross. Let's go. Continue on. All right. So she comes back down, and this is kind of a big moment, I think, that she says, you have no idea what you unleashed. What could that mean? She doesn't care, it seems like. She's like, fine, I'm just going to imprison you here in this town.
But
so,
and she says something like
I don't need you to tell you who I am. That's what she says before she comes on the full-on Scarlet Witch outfit. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and
becomes it.
Oh, jeez. Well, I lost track of what I was saying. Hey, what happens?
Okay.
Well, she walks
this is
away
just
from her.
Yeah,
And
she leaves
says,
Agatha back to her Agnes personality.
Right, and she says, "See you around, Agnes," and she says, "Not if I see you first." Almost as if it's hinting that we could possibly see her again in the future.
No, we definitely are 100%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we are. Oh yeah, there's not even a shadow of a doubt.
I love guarantees, man. Because I was guaranteed a lot more bad guys in this show.
If they didn't want her around, they would have killed her. I'm just telling you. Yeah.
Who did they kill in the MCU?
Yeah. Robots like Ultron.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
They didn't kill him. He's still floating around.
Oh, that's true. He still has
Red Skull's floating around for sure.
He's still floating around.
Oh, hold on, dude. When they cut off
I guess
Thanos'
Killmonger
head,
died.
Boom.
Yeah, there you go. He did.
Okay.
We watched Thanos' head roll.
Oh, in a different timeline, though.
That's true. We did.
But still, we did see him. That was pretty wild.
But in Infinity Gauntlet, literally, Thanos is brought back from the dead. I'm sure they're going to do it at some point. It might take 20 years, but Thanos is going to come back.
Of course they will.
Once CGI.
He was big money for them. He was big money for the MCU. They're not going to just let him leave like that. Yeah, he'll be back. But yes, I do think she'll be back. Yeah.
Yeah. But the weird thing is, so it's kind of skipping ahead, but Wanda's going to close the hex. Where does Agatha go if she's
That's true.
locked into Westview and the hex completely closes?
That's a good question. So
I don't know.
I have thought about, because I was all like, okay, yeah, there's no hex, so maybe she's just under the spell and not necessarily in the hex. So she's just going to go into a house, like a real house, not some bewitched house. I'm guessing.
Right, but she's still in her.
Yeah.
Hi, neighbor. Oh, I'm.
So I did not hear anything you said.
Lady.
Oh, I just said, is she just locked inside Wanda's mind?
Oh.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah, but I think she's gonna be stuck in a house somewhere inside of her mind, like maybe just sitting in a chair somewhere, like
with Ralph.
Yeah. Little tears coming down her face. Yeah.
Ralph Boner.
Yeah.
Boner.
And he laughs at it. He's like,
It's so stupid that MCU would do that.
It was an odd choice.
Well, and do you feel like it might have been a little nod to that Growing Pains character?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely was. Especially since the guy who I guess directed the episode was a kid on that show. Apparently,
he was a kid. He was a kid actor on a spin-off show of Growing Pains.
Oh yeah, Just the 10 of Us.
Just the 10 of Us. Yeah.
Yes, Just the 10 of Us. Oh boy.
Funny, man. Wow.
Old
hey,
shows.
at least people are getting facts out of us right now.
There you go. Just the facts, man.
They get guarantees out of Prague and they get facts out of the rest.
Just guarantees, ma'am. Guarantees that never pay off. Sorry.
I guarantee you Mephisto's going to show up.
Oh, yeah, dude, that bird, that stork.
Definitely Mephisto.
That's Mephisto, dude. That's what Mephisto. Yes. Nightmare? Dude, Nightmare's showing up for sure.
For sure, 100%. They gotta set up Doctor Strange.
I love this show.
Oh, well.
And I'm talking about secondary heroes, not...
Oh, gotcha. What's next?
Yeah, this is when... So now Monica says, I know you'll set everything right. Or no, the villagers say, I know you'll set everything right, but not for us. And so they all leave disenfranchised about Wanda finally letting them go. And so then WandaVision and the kids go back to the house, and you see the hex that's slowly shrinking as they're going back. It's turned to sunset. sun's going down, big guy, and we're going all the way back to the house, and we're putting Billy and Tommy to bed, and it's starting to get the somber music's coming in. We see the sadness is happening, coming on.
And I'm guessing.
And then we have the
where
really fun line
Sorry,
where
I didn't mean to talk over you, but I did. He's looking for the line right now.
Yeah, they tuck in the kids, and then family is forever. And then Wanda says, "Thanks for choosing me to be your mom." And so this is the most intriguing line of the whole show because
intriguing.
This indicates the whole idea of souls and multiverse, and she just plucked the kids out of somewhere that she could find them. You know, she literally, they chose her. You know, she's out there like essentially fishing. She's putting out bait, she's fishing, and they actually chose to come with her.
Yeah.
This is big.
That's interesting. This is big, Alex. This is big.
This is the only big thing of the whole episode, okay? Everything else was as borderline, as obvious as you could possibly be, but this is the only one that offers intrigue past the end of this episode.
I hate to agree with Trevor, but he is right. I mean, I like all the other stuff, but this is the one that actually creates intrigue. Yes, that's for sure. Because it really does open a can of worms.
And I guess this is where everybody's sitting there crying at this point.
No, not yet.
Not quite. I mean, they're probably getting choked up right now. They're rubbing some onions a little bit. They're getting ready.
Yeah, like the fake kids are about to disappear. She'll never see them again. And then we go downstairs, and now it's time for Wanda to say goodbye to Vision for the third time. Probably fifth times by now, but who's counting? And this is really super creepy. Like, I understand they were going for with the sadness and the somber tone and everything, but it comes back to the core thing. She is literally kissing the Mind Stone. She's literally part of the Mind Stone, kissing the Mind Stone. That's it. There's nothing more at all. This is really just creepy. Imagine if Vision was just a like gold little crystal rock there. It would be a creepy scene.
Pretty much. That's exactly what it is.
Well, but
exactly, I mean, that's why I didn't feel any sadness or anything. It is sad when Thanos rewinds time after she literally kills Vision just to rip the stone out of his head. That's pretty sad. That's pretty heartbreaking. But this,
that's pretty bad.
Not so much.
See, I see it more from like an empathetic point of view of Wanda, more so than just the whole icky, weird idea of the two, I guess, if that makes sense. Like, I can see why people would be. I mean, I was kind of choked up a little bit just because I thought it was well written, some of the lines, but like, yeah, I mean, it's just a stone. And
she explains, you're a manifestation of my sadness.
Yeah,
that's kind of creepy too.
Yeah, all you are is, you're.
But what she's
metal and wires.
What she's really doing in this scene is really finally getting her chance to actually say goodbye to him, because she didn't really get a chance to do that before. It was like, oh my God, you're dead, and oh my God, you're dead again. She wasn't able to sit there and actually have a nice conversation with him.
And Darcy's sitting there with popcorn, going, "Oh, he died again."
Pretty much.
And then we'll say hello again is very sweet, but I guess to the empathy of Wanda, the only problem is that we literally know there's like 50 to 100 people out there who she's tortured for who knows how many days in a row. So it's not that empathetic of a character just because she literally had those people go through hell so she could have closure.
Yeah, but she didn't
pretty
know
self-serving.
She did not know
she
that.
Kinda did.
Well, she thought she was giving them a nice little vacation. Like, hey, look what I got you. Nice picture perfect town. What are you complaining about?
Really think about that part. But he's
got a point. Nightmares. What are you talking about? Your kids are fine.
Don't say the N-word, please.
I won't.
Nightmares is the N-word, people. Sorry. Nightmares. I'm sorry. If this was Pee Wee Herman, everybody would be screaming right now.
And also on the flip side, White Vision still does exist. It's not like killing a character who can't come back.
So, and that's the thing is, in the back of my head, I'm sitting there going, well, she's most likely later on down the road, she's going to meet up with this White Vision, and then she's going to take that sadness stone that's inside of her, the soul stone, and it's gonna leak all over him, and he's gonna be
she's gonna leak soul stone all over.
I'm really tired. I just drove for 3.5 hours from the mountains to here right now, so Yeah. So, but that's the thing is like she's gonna be able to get Vision back. I mean, the other Vision has all the memories. She just needs to give him the soul.
I don't think she's gonna do that, but yes.
Well,
She
but
can,
here's the
though.
thing. Here's the thing. They could have put Mephisto in this episode. They didn't, but hey, it could have happened.
No, what I'm saying is, I don't think she's going to do that. I think this was her closure. She's moved on.
It is
from
her
this.
closure because now she
Yeah,
has
she's
to
not
turn
going
evil.
Yeah.
Cool.
No,
Well,
it's true.
I'm happy
She's
for her.
become evil.
She looks great in
there you
that costume.
Yeah.
Not the end costume. Oh, the costume at the very end. Oh, gross. Where she flies, that stupid CGI, and the hood.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet, sir.
Sorry.
Good Lord.
I know.
Jumping the gun.
It was really cool CGI though when the town closed and Vision dissipated. That was pretty
Sure.
good CGI.
Just his face remaining.
Yeah.
That was fun.
And
gotta
shout out to
back
Vishon. Hopefully people have been following that on Twitter. It's fun.
To what?
Vishon.
Oh, I don't-
Vishawn. He has like the big gold necklace, and because he was wearing the turtleneck sweater, it's a whole riff on that.
Nice.
He looked just like that.
Cool.
It's pretty funny.
Well, and at this point is where the hex finally closes in, and she's back standing on the plot of land that she originally came to.
Yes.
Back to that plot of land, and now she puts her hood up because it's
Now
done,
she's
and
gone.
now I'm leaving, I'm going incognito, and so the villagers all hate her. Monica, even though she's a hero, she tries to console Wanda and says, "I would have done the same thing for my mom," and I don't think that Monica would have. But it was very sweet that she gave Wanda those
nice
words
for
of
to say that.
encouragement.
Thanks.
It was very hero thing to say, like, I understand, I would have done the same thing. That's very nice, even though you know you wouldn't have. That just shows how good of a person Monica is.
Right. Please don't kill me, apparently. I don't know why I should have said that.
See you in the future. Wink.
Pretty
Don't forget about
See you in a
me.
future MCU movie.
And then also Wanda has I don't understand the power, but I will. And so she does transform and fly away.
Yep.
To Alex's point.
That flyaway, man. Come on. Like, I don't even think it would have looked good if she was on strings.
It's
Oh,
very
no.
CGI. It's very
Yeah.
CGI. I didn't mind the hood so much, but I didn't like the CGI.
I was expecting them to start playing the 8 Mile soundtrack when she put
That
the
would have
hood
been
up.
good. Yeah, that would have been much better.
Yeah! It's on the mic.
Lose yourself in the moment. Gonna let it go. You only get one shot, Wanda. Do not miss your chance.
She walks out.
That would have been a much better end.
You get end credits instead.
And
Well,
so now we get 2 end credit scenes, but
No,
before we get to
stand
those
by.
end credits scenes, this show ends, and it does leave you like, that's it? It's
Well,
really sad that you say that's it when it goes to black and it goes to the credits. Like, you know that there's going to be bonus scenes because it's a Marvel show, but still, before you get there, they didn't do anything in that episode at all.
Other than they gave her the costume and made Vision is about all they did with the episode.
I mean, the rest of the episode was pretty much a Monster of the Week. Like, they could have just made this a Monster of the Week type of episode in like a Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. vibes to it. And that's part of the reason why I didn't like the episode as a whole. Pretty much. Yeah. It was definitely the weakest the series.
And it's sad because that's the taste that it leaves you with. So you're like, oh, remember WandaVision? You're like, oh yeah, that ended really stupidly. It's a bad look.
I love that you also brought up like Dexter and stuff like that because that finale left a bad taste in everybody's mouth too.
You just forget of all that show was outstanding. And
Right.
like season 3 and 4 and stuff, you're like, damn, this is a good show. But you only remember the stupid ending.
Right.
Yeah.
Like 4, 5, and 6 of WandaVision are so damn good and intriguing.
That's what hooked me. That's what kept me like, oh dude, I'm so excited to come back for more. Here we are now. Me going, could have used a little more salt on that one.
Yep. That's the way it is. All right, so what about the episode?
So then we get the bonus credit scene, and Darcy left, because they couldn't pay her a few more cents to appear in this end credit scene. So then Monica's like, "Hey, we have somebody for you in the movie theater." Like, why'd they mention Darcy? That's all. That was weird. But so she goes into the movie theater and there's no one there to meet her. And I was like, "Who is this going to be? Is this going to be somebody cool?" Well, no, it wasn't. It was a Skrull because we had to do a Captain Marvel tie-in, and I don't care about the damn Skrulls. It's always been stupid. It is like the ultimate way to just mess up a storyline. Oh, look, it was the imposter guys that look identical every single time, no matter what happens in the history of the MCU. Oh, they were Skrulls. It's like the ultimate BS inclusion in any show, so I hate them, but it looks like we're going to get more of them.
We are.
Well, and it wasn't even like a Skrull that like had any kind of past ties or anything. It was just like some random one.
No, it was. She said it was a friend of her mother's. So
right, exactly, a friend of her mother's that we never met her. Like if it could
that
have
wasn't
been
like her,
the kid
her
that she, her friend, that would have been cool. But then she would have been like recognized her. I don't know.
Or it could be that her friend is like up on the ship doing stuff. We don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure. Yeah, this was an okay scene. It was all expected. It was like, yeah, of course we know she's going to be. We were already told this, you know. Based on previous panels, that Monica was going to be in Captain Marvel too. So it was like, all right.
We got you.
I guess. I personally like the Skrulls as characters, but to your point, Trevor, I don't really care for them as plot devices. They're kind of silly.
They're intriguing in the comics, but once you get it on film and TV, it lets you mess with the audience.
Like, they could be anybody. It's like everyone is what's her name? God, why am I blanking? I was gonna keep saying Mephisto.
Mephisto.
Anyway, everything's Mephisto. Forget it. Forget it. Everything's Mephisto.
Or if it is Mephisto, it's actually a Skrull, and it wasn't Mephisto.
Mystique. I'm sorry, Mystique. So it's like everyone is Mystique. It's like a whole race of Mystiques. It's like, it's kind of like, okay. Yeah. So I get your point, Trevor. You're pretty much right about that. So
now, okay.
Anyways,
before we continue on, the question arises for all those people that were left looking at Wanda fly away. The Hex went over them. Are they now mutants?
No, I don't think I think they bypassed that whole thing. They're going to introduce the mutants later.
Well, they just did that as a Monica excuse for some reason.
But that's so lame because all those other people went through it too. Shouldn't
it wasn't a mutated structures? Thing. Well, when Darcy said it, it's because she went in and out.
Yeah, several times.
I think that's what, like, all those people in the Hex were always in the Hex, and then the Hex was gone. That's the excuse they're going to use.
But they went in and out. I mean, technically in and out. I mean, maybe that's like they'll make a movie and then they'll be like, yeah, I was one of the guys in the Hex.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, bummer, because I
thought that's what they were going to do, but I don't think that's.
But no, they're not what they're going to do at all. It's just it was for Monica. Monica essentially got her powers through the Mind Stone extension from Wanda. It's not a mutated gene or anything. It's just.
But we don't know that. We don't quite know that because she did have. They could also like say do a backstory thing in Captain Marvel 2 where like I gave you part of my powers at one point and then they got enhanced because of Wanda.
Oh, or she could have had part of the Tesseract or part of the Space Stone from Captain Marvel.
Thinking. Yeah, it's like take some of my power. I don't know.
We're now jumping into our predictions. We should probably finish the episode and then get into the predictions. I'm sorry.
So there was another bonus scene. We zoom out into the woods. There's this pretty lake. It's some good drone footage. I wanted to go here on vacation. Right. And then we zoom in and Wanda's having tea. She pours the tea. And then they pan to the back corner. I'm like, I wonder if they're going to do something cool. Like, is Magneto going to lay in the bed? Are we going to do something cool? And then it's Wanda floating there, Captain Doctor Strange style. And I'm like, I'm out.
Not Captain Barbosa. Bummer.
Yeah, I totally thought we were going to get Doctor Strange. I thought he was going to be in the back, like, doing something with her. I was like, oh. Okay.
I thought it was going to be some kind of cool thing. And instead, it's just Wanda floating there in her Scarlet Witch outfit, reading the Book of the Dead or whatever they want to call it.
The Darkhold. Yeah.
Well, and then she hears the kids calling to her.
Really? And so this ties back. That was the intrigue part, is that it ties back into thank you for choosing me as your mom, because literally she's out trying to find Billy and Tommy again. That's what she's doing.
Yeah, and if she's using the Darkhold, she's obviously gonna probably have to make a bargain with somebody in the Darkhold. She's gonna summon someone from it. It might be, or it might be Nightmare, it might be somebody else entirely, but
The devil's in the details.
could be.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is gonna have to deal with this because Wanda's using a spiritual realm to do this.
He's like, knock that off. It's like, no.
Yeah, he's like, what are you doing? Stop using your astral projection to find different versions of your imaginary kids from different universes. Like, come on, Wanda.
Like, knock it off.
Here's the interesting thing.
That's what's gonna be to like, knock it off.
Whenever I was doing my own little research, the fact that everybody who does their astral projections where they're studying or whatever, they're always either asleep or knocked out or whatever. She's doing this while awake.
Yeah, she's powerful.
So I don't know. Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting in a way. I don't know. I thought maybe you guys might have something to say on that.
No, I was going to, but yeah, that was
okay.
Pretty powerful.
And then the T. Do you think that that's the same T that Astrid, I already forgot what the bad guy's name was. Jeez. Agatha, what she was making in her house before she put her in the runes. The runes.
I think she was just making tea.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you could be right.
I wish I could look farther and deeper into this, but every time we do, we got disappointed. So what?
That's why I stopped. I was like, nope, the tea is just tea now.
Yep.
It is. Everything is what it is.
The show is just over.
And the show is
Well, I feel bad now because I know how much you liked it, Prague, and
Prague
really
still loves it.
Greatest thing ever. I just enjoy it because I.
Well, no, I know, but we just like bashed what you liked.
No,
so
Prague
hard.
liked the fun of it because there was intrigue.
Yeah.
Whenever it ends, the intrigue's gone.
I don't care if the intrigue is off or not. Honestly, like I just like.
Oh, really? Oh man.
Speculation's fun. Speculation can be anything. That's why before I started the show, I was like, "This can be anything. Anything is possible right now. They could do X-Men and Mephisto, and they could be the same thing. They could do anything they want to." And then as soon as you start it, you're like, every minute ticks down to it not being cool.
It's gonna be what you want. Nope. None of those things.
All right. So now at this point of the show, should we get into some projections on what could happen later on in the MCU with what we all know now?
Yes, astral projections.
I think we kind of touched on a lot of it already.
I think we did, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. Monica's going to go to space with the Skrulls, and she's going to have a talking to with Captain Marvel because she's not happy with her for some reason. We got to figure that out.
Wait, why is she not happy with her?
I don't know, but every time her name came up in the series, she, tried to brush it off like it's not about her. Let's not talk about her.
It's because Captain Marvel is selfish AF, and they need an actual hero to take the Captain Marvel mantle to run the Avengers because they need leadership, and Captain Marvel is not a leader at all.
No, she's not in the comics either. It's like Captain Marvel in the comics until Monica Rambeau is like awful. Like she's probably the only Captain Marvel in the comics that was actually decent. All of them are just awful people. So it's kind of nice if she does take on the mantle of Captain Marvel. So we'll see.
Interesting.
Yep.
Well,
people do terrible things with power. This is the way it is.
Well, it seems behind the scenes nobody's really taken a liking to that Brie Larson. So
I don't think that's the reason. That's her comic book character. That's just who she is.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Brie Larson might be off-putting, but
right.
They were going to get rid of this Captain Marvel regardless. That's just what happens in the comics.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay. See, yeah. Hey, folks, read.
So Captain Marvel
you sound like a dumb like me.
Captain Marvel 2 already has a release date. November 11th, 2022.
All right.
What about Doctor Strange? Does that one have a release date yet?
I was expecting at the very end for it to say, Wanda will return in.
I know, I did too.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, they usually do that though. In the MCU, and they didn't do it this time. So, okay.
Yeah, because her story's done, dude. We don't ever have to see her again. We're done with her.
Yeah, sorry.
Yep.
No, don't be sorry, man. I at this point, now that I've got enough story on her and whatnot, I'm a little bit more on the Wanda bandwagon, as long as she doesn't do silly little witch things.
But that's her character.
No, I mean like the
really silly,
like the floating around with giant garbs everywhere. You know what I mean? Like hocus pocus type of witch things.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's not how she is. But it's really interesting. They never got into her changing probabilities because that's what Wanda does.
And
She
they might.
creates outlandish things because, like, oh, this has a 1 in a million shot of having this mountain collapse, but she can change probabilities, so there's 100% chance of it happening, and she can mess up everything. And they didn't really dive into that.
She doesn't know that yet, I'm thinking. I think she's
I
going to
guess
find
not.
that out, and it's going to really bite her in the butt, is my guess.
That's probably how she gets Billy and Tommy back.
Yep.
Do you think that's how she becomes the villain?
Yep.
Yeah, so
is Doctor Strange just going to be like chasing her around dimension to dimension? Oh, I got to catch this Wanda.
It's going to be like Rick and Morty, where Doctor Strange will have the little portal gun and he just keeps going in, and then Wanda's always one step ahead for like 2 hours.
Wanda, I need to shove this up your butt.
No, I got to find my kids.
No.
Zap. Oh, no, I got to go find her in a different dimension. Oh, this dimension has Thanos. Oh, no, we're doing this again.
No, I said my son's not a talking son. So, wrong universe. Oh, boy, that'd be fun.
Dimension of lost people.
Anyways, regardless, I know I'm looking forward to it, even if you guys aren't. I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, no, I'm looking forward to
That's the only one. So, on their upcoming calendar, Doctor Strange is coming March 25th, 2022. Before we get there, I'm also intrigued by what Loki does in November of this year. And then
that was one thing about White Vision disappearing. I felt like it was exactly like Loki disappearing in the movies. How he took the Tesseract, disappeared, you never saw him again. That's how I felt like White Vision was in this episode, where it was like, oh, okay, I got all this memories now. I'm out.
Why? He did, yeah. It was very Loki.
Yeah, never to see me again. You're not going to see me again for a long time.
Well, did you see that people are predicting he's going to show up in Black Panther 2? Because one of his last memories is of Wakanda and Shuri working on him, and he's going to try to...
Ooh,
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Right. And
okay.
And she's probably going to be the new main character, most likely.
Right.
That makes sense.
On board now, dude. I'm on board with that.
It's a good theory. I like that theory.
Yeah.
All right.
The one fun one is that Miss Marvel is showing up in late 2021, and she lives in New Jersey, and Westview is in New Jersey, and I would love some connection of Wanda's hex tying into Miss Marvel's powers.
Yeah, is she aware of it, I wonder? Like, maybe she got the power. Maybe she was one of the kids, one of the teenagers in the town.
They could do some kind of connection, since, like, if they made a smaller MCU where all the TV shows were connected, that would be pretty cool, too.
I like that. Okay.
Just like DC TV.
Yeah, because Hawkeye will be in New York. So that makes sense.
She-Hulk's in the same area, too.
Yeah, interesting. All right. I'm liking this.
Oh, weird. See? Maybe all these new characters were all in the Hex, and they're all now...
The camera just didn't focus on them.
I don't think so, but... It would be good to see some tie-ins, some mentions of the Hex. Because, like, why wasn't anyone else aware of this? It was like the whole world had no idea this was happening.
Yeah, right?
It was really weird. It was like the FBI wasn't even interested until, like, the last moment. Like, oh, sure, we'll stop by, see what's going on with this mega Hex in the middle of New Jersey. Sure.
Sorry, I sound like I'm living in a bad neighborhood with helicopters going over my house.
I can't hear it, so it's okay.
Oh, okay. I can see it's on my audio waves, so I'm like, oh, jeez.
Oh,
okay.
Oh,
jeez. Wow. I can't believe we made it this far. I felt like we flew through this episode, man.
Yeah, we did.
We were ripping it left and right, but wow.
It was too easy to rip. I need a show that's
it was pretty easy to rip.
Easy to rip.
Yeah. We should have done Dark at some point.
Oh, that would just be glowing reviews the whole time. That's not fun.
That's boring. Boring.
I don't know what's going on. I've got to read the whole time.
Alex won't be here this week in our podcast, or next week, or the week after.
Oh, speaking of that. What to do now that WandaVision's done?
So is everyone excited for Falcon and the Winter Soldier premiering on March 19th? That's literally like a week and a half away.
Some of us are, some of us are not, I guess. I don't know. It's there. I will watch it most likely, but I don't know if I'm interested.
I'll watch it because we'll most likely talk about it at some point in the
Audience members, reach out to us on any form of communication to tell us, would you like us to talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier, or do you want us to talk about something else?
Actually, reach out to us at all if you've actually made it this far in the podcast.
Just say hi.
Yeah, if you're an hour and a half into our episode right now and you're actually still listening.
That's dedication. It's like how I felt watching WandaVision and the 2 bonus scenes. That second bonus scene, I'm like, I am dedicated to the MCU.
Really dedicated, sir. That's off.
Fantastic, guys.
Fantastic.
Okay, are we good?
I think so.
To everyone listening, be sure to follow at Secondary Heroes everywhere. We hope you enjoyed, and we'll talk to you next time.
Mephisto out.
Mephisto!